All right, and when you, if you go to look at the video of this lesson, the compass and the protractor will not show up on the notes, on the written part that's saved as a PDF, but it does show up on the video. So if you want to go back and refer to the video, you can. There's also a website called Math Open Reference, which gives animations of these constructions. So if you want to look at that. And also if you search on YouTube, there are a ton of people that demonstrate these constructions. So the first one that we're going to do, I call it copy a segment. On your note sheet, it says construct a congruent segment. I call it copy a segment. So we're going to start with a segment, any segment. So there's my segment. What I do to do this construction is I'm just going to draw a point that is the endpoint of the new segment that I'm going to construct. So to copy a segment, you grab your compass, and I'm going to turn it over. You put one point on one end of your compass, the other point on the other end of the segment. Without moving the setting of your compass, you move it over, put the sharp point on the point that you drew, and make a little mark. So now what we've done is we've made sure that the distance that this segment is the same as that distance. So now I can grab my straight edge. So I'm going to grab my straight line tool, connect that point to anywhere on that arc, and there is a new segment that's going to be exactly the same length as the other segment. So that's our copy a segment. So let me do that one again. You can start with any segment. There's the segment that I want to copy. I'm going to draw a point. That's the end point of my new segment. Now my compass. Put one point of the compass on one end point of the segment, the other point on the other end point. I'll change the color this time. Without changing the setting, bring the sharp point over to where you want your new end point. Whoops, I moved it. And now I can draw an arc, and I can connect with my straight edge the point that I drew to anywhere on that arc, and I'm going to have a congruent segment to the one that I was copying. So I copied that one there, copied that one over there. So that's our first basic construction. Copy a segment, or construct a congruent segment. All right, questions there? Okay, the next one is, I call it copy an angle. On your sheet it says construct a congruent angle. So we start with any angle. There's the angle that I want to copy. To copy this thing, what I'm going to do is start with a ray that's going to be the side of my new angle. So I just draw a ray with your straight edge. With your straight edge, you just draw a ray. Now you grab your compass, put the sharp point on the vertex that you want to copy, and now I'm going to make an arc through both rays of that angle. It can be any arc. You don't want it huge. You don't want a huge arc like this, but you also don't want a tiny arc like this. It's just some kind of medium arc. And it needs to go through both rays. Now I'm going to, without changing the compass, I'm going to move it over to the ray where I want to copy my angle, and draw the same arc. Sometimes this automatically draws a circle. You don't have to draw a circle. You just need an arc. Now, I'm going to take the compass, and I'm going to put one point on the angle that I want to copy where the arc crosses the ray, and put the other end where the arc crosses the other ray. Well, now I have my compass open exactly as far open as the angle is. I'm going to move my compass over here and put the sharp point on the arc where it crosses the ray that's going to be the side of my new angle. Make a little arc there. So I end up with an X with the two arcs that I've drawn. And then with my straight edge, connect the vertex through that little X, and there's my new angle. And if I measure these, we'll see how well I did. So I'm going to measure that angle. Looks like that one is about almost exactly a 60-degree angle. I'll put this one over here, see how well I copied it. Pretty close. That one was a pretty good construction. All right, so let's look at copy and angle again. I want to show each of these twice. There's the angle that I want to copy. Make the vertex big there. So I start with a ray. That's going to be one side of my new angle. Take my compass, put it on the sharp point on the vertex of the angle I want to copy, and I just need to make an arc through both rays. Move my compass over, put the tip sharp point on the vertex of my new angle, and make the same arc. So the blue arcs are the same. Now I'm going to take my compass, put the sharp point where the arc crosses a ray of the angle I want to copy, and put the other end on the point where the arc crosses the other ray. Move my compass over to where I'm copying, put the sharp point on where the arc crosses the ray, and make a mark. Where those two arcs cross, I connect the vertex to that point, like so, and there's my new angle. So I've copied that angle. And I'll measure that. Let's see how good a job I did here. So it looks like that's about 38 degrees. And that one is, oh, looks like that one, I didn't do quite as good a job on that one. That one's about 40 degrees, maybe a little more. So a couple degrees off on that, but pretty close. All right, so that's our second one, copy and angle. Next one, perpendicular bisector. And we can also, perpendicular bisector or bisect a segment. Perpendicular just means makes a 90-degree angle with. So here is my, we'll start with some segment. I either want to bisect the segment or I want to make a perpendicular bisector. The construction's the same. For this one, take your compass, put the sharp point on one end point of your segment, and you have to open the compass more than halfway across the segment. So not far enough, that's about halfway, more than halfway. And I'm going to make an arc, kind of a half circle, that goes above the segment and below the segment. Without changing the setting on my compass, I put the sharp point on the other end. And I'm going to make the same arc here, about a half circle. It goes above and below. Those two should cross above and below. Take your straight edge, and you're going to connect that point where they cross, the two arcs cross, with the other point where they cross. And this segment is perpendicular, and this point is the midpoint. So I bisected that segment. All right, let's look at that one again. I'll do one sideways. So here's a segment I want to bisect or construct a perpendicular bisector. And anytime your instructions say construct, they mean use your compass, not measure out with a ruler. All right, so I grab my compass. I'll do a different color this time. Open up your compass more than halfway. We're going to make an arc that goes above and below. And I need to, there we go. We're going to move our compass to the other side of the segment and make the same arc. Those two should cross. Grab your straight edge and connect those two. And that is my perpendicular bisector. All right, questions on that one? Last one. Angle bisector. All right, we're going to construct an angle bisector. This is very similar to the last one we just did. What we're doing this with an angle. So we're going to start an angle there. Start with an angle. Grab our compass, and like we did with the last angle construction, we draw an arc through both rays. Any arc. Not a giant one, not a tiny one. And now we're going to move the sharp point of our compass to where the arc crosses the ray, like before. And open up our compass more than halfway across the angle. Not far enough, not far enough. This is good. Make an arc. Move the compass to the other side where the arc crosses the ray. Make an arc. Those two should cross. And then with your straight edge, you're going to connect the vertex to the point where they cross. And now I've bisected that angle. So very similar to the segment bisector. Let me do that one more time.
Yeah.
There's my angle. Grab my compass. Make an arc with the sharp point at the vertex. Now we're going to move the compass to where the ray crosses, the arc crosses the ray. Make an arc. Move the compass to the other side where the arc crosses the ray. Make an arc. Those two should cross in the middle of the triangle. Connect the vertex to that point where they cross. And I've bisected that angle. And with these basic constructions, we can do a lot of things. We could construct a square. We can copy a triangle. We can construct a lot of different constructions that we can do with these basic constructions. We can construct a segment that's twice as long as the segment that we have. We can construct a segment that's half as long. So we can do a lot of different kinds of things with these basic constructions. So on Friday, we'll have a worksheet, and all of the work will involve doing these basic constructions in various different ways. So on Friday, you will need a compass and a straight edge to be able to do the homework. If you did not have one to follow along today, I would strongly suggest that you watch the video, that you try to go along with these constructions. We will be doing constructions over the course of the semester, and on several of our tests, there will be constructions that we'll ask you to do on the test. All right.